Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for having me back to Raconteurs. Thrilled to be here, lost and found. And I don't know if it's just me or if I'm getting old or what it is, but sometimes I think I've lost my sense and my belief that people will do the right thing. That's what I've lost. I've lost my sense that we'll do the right thing or we'll make the right decision or that the world is intrinsically a good place. And I don't like admitting that, and I don't like feeling that, but sometimes I feel that. And when I do feel that, I combat that feeling with one thing, with one thought. I have one thought I combat that with, and that thought is Walt Disney World. No, it is. It's Walt Disney World. That's how I combat this negative feeling that I get. And you might think, that's Walt Disney World. That's like the schmaltzy mecca of capitalism. And it is, but we love it. And we've been there, our family's been there umpteen times. I don't know how many times, tons of times. But the time I remember, I think it was our second time there, and it was March break, and it was a winter in Toronto. It was a winter like we have tonight. It was brown and gray and drizzly and wet, and it was Toronto winter. And my wife Carol and I were longing for a blue sky. We were longing for 80-degree Fahrenheit Florida vacation. And I came home one night and she said, I've booked Disney World. And I was like, great. We took the 3 kids and we put them in the van and we drove 22 hours to Summer. And when we were driving, my wife looked over and she said, I've also booked a character dinner. Now, how many people have been to Disney? You ever done a character dinner? A character dinner, if you don't know, a character dinner is when you have dinner in a Disney restaurant, in a Disney resort, and the characters actually come and rub shoulders with your kids. And it's unbelievable. It's like the quintessential Disney experience. It's fantastic. So we were all pumped. So the first day in Florida, we get to the Magic Kingdom. When it opens, first thing in the morning, and we're in the Magic Kingdom, and it is great. And the morning is fun-filled, and it rolled into an afternoon that was just unbelievably stupendous. It was great, and that progressed into an early evening, and my wife looked at her watch, and she said, hey, guys, it's time for dinner. So we made our way over to Frontierland. It's a small section in the Magic Kingdom, kind of a Wild West sort of motif, and we made our way there. And we went to the Liberty Tree Tavern. That's where we had our character dinner booked. And we walked in, the 5 of us, and we announced to the hostess, Hunt family, party of 5, we're here. And then she said something to us that you don't usually hear when you're traveling with 3 small kids. She said, you're early. And she said, yeah, you're about 30 minutes early. So I looked at my wife and we thought, well, what are we going to do? So we walked out of the Liberty Tree Tavern and we found a little path that meandered up the way and into a little shady area. It wasn't very busy. And that little shady area was a shooting range, a little shooting range. It was frontier town, right? And it wasn't very busy. In fact, there was no Disney attendant there at all. It was just a little machine, and you put a dollar bill in the machine, it would free up a gun with some ammo, and the kids would get to shoot. So I took out my wallet and I put $3 in that little machine. We had 3 kids, and they each loaded up their guns and started to shoot. It's very American. And about 3 minutes later, the kids came and said, we're out of ammo. So I got out the wallet again, and I loaded up $3 into that machine. I must have done that, I don't know how many times over the 30 minutes. I spent $30 or $40 in that little machine, in that arcade. And my wife looked at her watch again, and she goes, guys, it's dinner time. Let's get going. So we all lined up, and we made our way down that meandering path back to the Liberty Tree Tavern, and the hostess took us and she sat us down at our table, and they poured us iced teas, and they were icy and good, and the food came at the table, and it was good American comfort food, and the characters came around, and the kids had fun, and dinner was great, and my wife and I sat back, and we relaxed, and we kind of re-energized, and we got ready for our next sojourn into the Magic Kingdom, and life was good. And about 90 minutes passed. And then they brought the check to our table, and we were getting ready to go, and we looked at the check, we looked at the bill, and it was all good, everything was right, and then I reached into my back pocket to get my wallet, and that's when it happened. It started as a pain in my lower abdomen, and it worked up my chest, and it worked all the way up to my throat. And what was a cool calmness became a hot, sweaty panic. And I looked at my wife, and I said, Carol, do you have my wallet? And she was getting the kids ready, and she said, no, you got your wallet. You were plowing dollar bills into that machine in the arcade, remember? And then I said something to her, and I used a voice that that sort of yelling whisper voice that you use if you're in a church or at a funeral or maybe in a library. You know that yelling whisper voice when you want to be heard but you don't want too many people to hear you? And I said, fuck! I left my wallet at the arcade. And she looked at me and her eyes went big and her face went pale and I stood up and I ran. I ran out of that restaurant, I ran to that meandering path, I ran all the way back up to the arcade and I looked for my black leather wallet and it was gone. My black leather wallet with $1,800 in it was gone. My black leather wallet with all my credit cards, it was gone. My driver's license, it was gone. Our holiday, it was gone. It was gone. I looked everywhere for that wallet, it was gone. So I ran back down that meandering path, right back to the Liberty Tree Tavern, and I saw my wife rummaging through her purse, trying to scrounge up enough money, enough coin and dollar bills to pay the check. And she looked at me and I shook my head and her eyes were still big and her face was still pale. And one of the servers must have noticed there was something going on. They came over and they said, is there something we can help you with? And I said, where would you go if you lost a wallet? And they said, you'd go to the town hall. Town hall. Right up Main Street, USA, the town hall. And Carol got the kids together and I helped her a little bit and then we ran. We ran outside of that Liberty Tree Tavern and we found Main Street, USA, and we ran as fast as we could run. And the kids must have been running with us, looking up at their dad, thinking it's not such a magical place after all. And we ran and we got there and Carol got the kids and she put them down on a little bench and got them all settled down and I stood in my place in line and waited for the guy at the counter and my heart was aching and my arms were aching from the run up from the Liberty Tree Tavern or from the stress or from both. Sweat pouring down my face. And then the fellow behind the counter looked up to me and he sort of smiled and he nodded for me to come forward and I walked forward to the counter and I said, I've lost my wallet. And he said to me, he said in that U.S. Southern Disney-esque drawl, he said, can you describe your wallet, sir? And I said, well, it's a black leather wallet. I mean, it's a man's wallet. It's got $1,800 in it. It's got my driver's license. It's got all my credit cards. It's got it's my ID. I mean, it's everything. It's my wallet. I've lost it. He looked at me and he kind of leaned back. He looked under the counter. He looked at me again. He looked under the counter and then he reached. And he reached a little further and he seemed to get a hold of something and he came up. He put something up on the counter. And he said to me, is this your wallet, Mr. Hunt? And I have to tell you, that's the point that scared me the most. That was when the fear in my gut was at its highest, because that was the point I imagined I was going to take my wallet and I was going to open it up and I was going to find the $1,800 were gone, my credit cards were gone, my driver's license were gone, we're 22 hours from home and we're screwed. But I overcame my fear and I reached up under the counter and I took my wallet, my black leather wallet, and I brought it close to my chest. And I opened it up, and there, smiling back at me, were 36 $50 bills. And my credit cards all lined up neatly in those little slots in your wallet. And my driver's license right there, right where I had left it. And my petrol can card was there too. Everything was intact. Our holiday was intact, and I couldn't believe it. And I was going to cry. I couldn't believe it. And I said to the guy, I can't believe this. Everything's here. I can't believe everything is here in my wallet. And he looked at me and he didn't miss a beat and he said, of course it is, sir. This is Disney World. And he said it like he meant it and I believed him. So when I lose that feeling that people do the right thing, that people make the right decisions, when I lose the feeling that the world is intrinsically a good place, I think of Walt Disney World. And I think of that person or those people amongst the 75,000 people that were there that day who came across a black leather wallet at the arcade, and they looked at it, and they picked it up, and they said, some poor asshole just lost his holiday. And they did the right thing. I'm Robert Hunt. Thanks very much.